Today, let's dive into a topic that's happened to almost everyone: having your debit card suddenly blocked by your bank.
Absolutely. It's such a frustrating experience. One moment you're buying coffee, the next your card's declined and you have no idea why.
Exactly. The blog we're discussing gives a rundown of the most common reasons banks block debit cards. Let's start with suspected fraud.
That's probably the number one reason, right? Banks have all these algorithms that flag unusual activity. Sometimes you're just shopping online late at night and boom, blocked.
Yeah, and what counts as unusual isn't always clear to us. Maybe you're traveling or making a bigger purchase than usual, and suddenly your bank thinks it's suspicious.
I remember once I bought concert tickets from a foreign site, and my card was blocked immediately. It felt like being grounded for trying to have fun.
That's a good way to put it. Banks are like overprotective parents sometimes, but I get their point. Fraud prevention is important.
True, but their idea of protecting can be a bit too much. Did you know even small things like trying to withdraw cash from a new ATM can trigger a block?
Yes, especially if it's in another city or country. Some banks want you to notify them before you travel, but who remembers to do that every time?
Not me. I barely remember to pack my charger, let alone call my bank.
Another reason mentioned is entering the wrong PIN too many times. That's almost a classic. Have you ever messed up your PIN?
Oh, more times than I'd like to admit. Sometimes it's just nerves, or maybe you're in a hurry. Suddenly, you're locked out of your own money.
It's a bit like forgetting your own birthday. Embarrassing, but it happens.
The blog also talks about insufficient funds. If your balance is low, some banks will block your card to avoid overdraft.
That's right. And sometimes, even if you have enough money, pending transactions can mess things up. You think you have $100, but there's a pending payment, and you actually have much less.
It can be confusing. I wish banks would just send a friendly text. Hey, you're cutting it close, instead of just blocking your card.
Wouldn't that be nice? But I guess automated systems are easier for banks to manage. Speaking of automation, technical glitches also make the list.
Oh, the joys of technology. Sometimes the system just goes down, and your card gets blocked for no good reason.
That's probably the most annoying because there's nothing you did wrong. You just have to wait it out.
There's also the issue of expired cards. Have you ever forgotten to activate your new card and kept trying with the old one?
Guilty as charged. I once tried my expired card 3 times before realizing it had expired. The cashier was not impressed.
It's always in those moments when there's a long line behind you too. Pressure makes everything worse.
For sure. The blog also mentions suspicious online activity, like too many failed login attempts to your banking app.
That's a tricky one, because sometimes it's not you. It could be someone trying to hack your account. In that case, I'm glad the bank blocks access.
It's better to be safe, but it's also frustrating if you're the one locked out because you forgot your password.
Passwords are like socks in the laundry. They disappear when you need them most.
So true. Another interesting point is about international transactions. Some banks automatically block any foreign transaction unless you've set up permissions.
That's something I wish I'd known before my last trip abroad. I tried to pay for dinner and the card was blocked. Not the best way to impress new friends.
Ouch, that's awkward. It does highlight the importance of notifying your bank before you travel.
But honestly, who remembers to do that every single time? Life moves fast, and sometimes you just forget.
Maybe banks could make this process easier, like sending a reminder if they detect you're in another country.
That would be smart, or even an app notification. Are you traveling? Tap here to unlock international transactions.
Exactly. The blog also mentions cards being blocked for security upgrades, like when the bank rolls out a new chip or contactless feature.
I've had that happen. Suddenly, my old card stops working and a new one arrives in the mail. It's like getting an unsolicited upgrade. Surprise.
It's nice to have better security, but the transition can be inconvenient, especially if you don't check your mail regularly.
Or if you're waiting for an important payment and your card's inactive. Timing is everything.
There's also the rare case of legal reasons like a court order or government request. Hopefully, that's not something most people face.
Yeah, unless you're living a secret double life. But seriously, it's good to know there are processes in place for those extreme situations.
The blog wraps up by emphasizing communication. If your card is blocked, the best move is to contact your bank immediately.
That's key. Most issues can be resolved with a quick call or visit. But it's always a hassle, especially if you're in a rush.
Or if it happens outside of banking hours. Then you're stuck waiting, which is the worst.
I think banks could do more to make this process smoother. Maybe more 24/7 support or real-time chat options.
Agreed. It would take the sting out of being unexpectedly blocked. Have you ever had a particularly memorable experience with a blocked card?
I have. Once my card was blocked at the grocery store and I had a full cart. I had to leave everything and come back later. It was like a walk of shame.
That's brutal. I think everyone's been there at least once. It's almost a rite of passage in adulthood.
At least now, with mobile payments and backup cards, there are more options. But it still feels like a setback when it happens.
Definitely. The blog gives some useful tips, like keeping your contact info updated with the bank and setting up alerts.
I started doing that, and it's actually helped. Getting an instant alert when something's off is so much better than finding out at the checkout.
For sure. It's also a good idea to know your bank's customer service number just in case.
And to memorize your PIN, or at least write it down somewhere safe, just not on your card.
Good advice. Another tip is to regularly check your account for suspicious transactions. Sometimes you catch things before the bank does.
That's true. I once noticed a tiny charge I didn't recognize, and it turned out to be a test run for fraud. I reported it, and my card was replaced before anything major happened.
That's a great example. Being proactive can save a lot of trouble down the line.
Plus, it's your money. You should be keeping an eye on it.
So, to sum up, there are lots of reasons why banks block debit cards, but most of them are about keeping us safe.
Even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment. The key is to stay informed and prepared so you're not caught off guard.
And maybe to have a backup plan, a little cash or another card just in case.
Definitely. And don't forget a sense of humor. Sometimes all you can do is laugh and call your bank.
That's the spirit. Before we wrap up, what's one thing you wish banks would do differently when it comes to blocking cards?
I wish they'd be more transparent. Like, tell us exactly why a card was blocked, not just for security reasons.
I agree. More communication would make a big difference. It would also help people avoid repeating the same mistakes.
Absolutely. And maybe they could use more real-time notifications. If something looks off, just ask me before shutting everything down.
That would save so much hassle. Well, thanks for joining this conversation. Hopefully, listeners now have a better sense of why cards get blocked and what to do about it.
And if it happens, remember, you're not alone. It's just another part of modern banking life.
For sure. Until next time, keep your PIN safe and your bank's number handy.
And don't forget to check your expiration dates. See you next episode.